You've heard the phrase, "You create your reality." But here's what most people miss. It's not about thoughts, it's about observation. The way you direct awareness changes what shows up. Not by wishing, but by how you meet each moment. Today, we'll connect the observer effect from quantum physics to your spiritual practice, so you can shift from reacting to consciously integrating experience. We'll focus on one core idea: the quality of your observation shapes outcomes. I'll show you what that means, how to apply it without magical thinking, and a simple practice to start changing your inner and outer world today. Let's ground the term first. In quantum experiments like the famous double-slit setup, a particle such as an electron behaves like a spread-out wave of possibilities. When no measurement is made, you see an interference pattern. Many options are live. When a detector measures which path the particle takes, the wave of options narrows into a specific outcome. In plain language, observation affects what becomes real at that scale. Now we have to be careful. The observer in physics is an instrument or interaction that extracts information, not a mystical mind beaming thoughts at matter. But there's a deeper insight you can use. Attention is an interaction. The way you observe changes the system you observe, internally for certain, and behaviorally in the world through the choices you then make. Think about it this way. Your nervous system is a sensitive detector. What you attend to, you amplify. What you repeatedly attend to, you stabilize. Here's what people overlook. The state of the observer matters. An anxious observer pulls out different data than a calm observer. A resentful observer collapses toward confirming resentment. A generous observer notices openings most will miss. None of this requires breaking physics. It's how perception, cognition, and choice flow together. Here's the shortcut nobody teaches. The observer effect isn't just look and it changes. It's how you look determines what shows. Your inner state acts like a tuning dial. If you remember nothing else, remember this pairing, state select signal. That principle revealed itself to me when I noticed that the same situation, say a difficult conversation, played out completely differently depending on whether I observed from fear or from grounded curiosity. The facts didn't change. My observation did, and therefore my behavior and the outcome did. Before we continue, you need to understand the difference between control and influence. You can't force reality to obey your will. You can influence the probabilities you engage by adjusting the quality of your observation. That's the practical bridge from lab to life. The physics analogy helps us stay humble. Measurement changes systems. In life, attention is measurement. Let me show you exactly how this maps to consciousness. When you observe your inner world with tight judgment, you collapse into the same old storyline. I'm behind. I'm not safe. They don't get me. Your body responds to that observation and prepares for threat, shallow breathing, tense muscles, narrowed focus. Now your choices follow the state, and the world mirrors back what that state is prepared to see. That's a self-fulfilling loop. But when you observe with relaxed precision, clear, present, and non-reactive, you give your system space. New options can appear, a question you hadn't considered, a boundary you can set kindly, a pause that prevents escalation. The reason this works is simple. Non-reactive observation reduces noise. Reduced noise increases coherence. Increased coherence improves perception and decision quality. That's the cascade that shifts outcomes. A quick analogy. A radio doesn't change the station by wishing. It tunes. Your observation is the tuner. Judgment is static. Curiosity is clarity. The cleaner the signal, the cleaner the response from life. Now you might be thinking, isn't this just positive thinking? Not quite. Positive thinking tries to paint over what's there. Conscious observation meets what's there precisely, then holds a higher quality state while engaging it. It's not denial, it's deliberate presence. So, what's the practical takeaway? Start seeing observation as a trainable skill. You can train breath to stabilize your baseline. You can train attention to widen under stress instead of narrowing. You can train language to describe reality cleanly, not catastrophically. Master this, and everything shifts, because you'll stop collapsing the same old pattern and start integrating new information before you act. With that foundation in place, let's explore the spiritual application, how to shift from actor to witness, and why that changes everything. Here's the shift that separates the 1%. You stop playing only the actor in your life and start inhabiting the witness. Actor is doing. Witness is being aware of the doing. When you inhabit the witness, you change the quality of the observation that selects your next move. That changes outcomes without forcing them. Why does this matter? Because acting from a contracted identity collapses the same storyline again and again. Acting from the witness expands choice. The observer effect in your inner world is simple. The more spacious the awareness, the more possibilities you can access. The more judgmental the awareness, the fewer options you can see. What is the witness practically? It's the layer of you that notices sensations, thoughts, and impulses as events in consciousness, not as absolute truth. It doesn't argue with them. It verifies them. It asks, what's present, before it asks, what should I do? That 1 second reordering is the game changer nobody talks about. Let me show you exactly how to step into it. Use the 3C switch: center, check, choose. Center is the physical reset. Inhale through your nose, slow and low, 4 counts. Exhale for 6. Feel your feet. Soften your jaw and tongue. This isn't woo. You're downshifting your nervous system so the witness can come online. Here's what people don't realize. Awareness quality is state-dependent. Centering upgrades the state. Check is the observational scan. Name, not analyze, 3 channels: body, emotion, thought. For example, body: tight chest, warm hands. Emotion: irritation. Thought: they're not listening. Keep it plain. No story, no why. This is clean measurement. The moment you measure clearly, reactivity loses its grip. Choose is the integrative move. Ask, from the witness, what's the next effortless right action? Not the perfect action. The next clean step. It might be to pause, to ask a clarifying question, to set a boundary, or to say less. Choice follows clarity. Clarity follows witnessing. Now, here's where most people stumble. They try to witness while secretly arguing with reality. That's still the actor in a costume. True witnessing is consent to what is, paired with commitment to what matters. Consent doesn't mean approval. It means accurate contact with the present. From accurate contact, skillful action becomes possible. Apply this consistently and watch what happens. Your language changes from always and never to specifics. Your timing improves because you're not collapsing early. Your presence becomes steadier, which shifts how people respond. This is coherence in action. The witness organizes the actor. Let me give you a real example. Last week, a student replaced her default response in meetings, defend fast, with the 3C switch. She took 2 breaths, ran a quick check, then chose to ask one clarifying question instead of launching into a rebuttal. The shift was immediate. She noticed her shoulders drop, her voice steadied. The person across from her paused, really considered the question, and the conversation opened. By the end of the meeting, the decision quality had improved significantly. Same agenda, different observer. The outcome moved. That's the practical application of state selecting signal. You don't change the external facts first. You change the internal observation, which changes your choices, which changes the interaction, which changes the result. But let's be honest, knowing this and doing this are different. Most people will nod at this concept and never practice it. So let's address exactly what stops people and how to move through it. The first barrier is impatience. You want transformation, but you're not willing to pause for 90 seconds. The mind says, this takes too long, when in reality, the time you save by not cleaning up reactive fallout pays for the pause many times over. Impatience is just fear dressed as efficiency. The second barrier is identity. The actor self is invested in speed, certainty, and being right. The witness slows things down. It asks for accuracy over ego wins. That threatens the parts of you built on urgency and defense. So the mind throws up clever objections. This is too slow. I'll lose my edge. If I don't react, I'll be walked over. Those aren't facts. They're protective predictions. Here's the truth people miss. Reactivity feels like power but burns it. Witnessing builds power and conserves it. Third, technique errors. There are 3 common ones. Overlabeling, turning the check into a narrative. I always do this because, which reactivates the loop. Underfeeling, naming sensations without letting the body actually soften, so state never shifts. Premature choosing, grabbing the first action to escape discomfort instead of waiting for the next clean step. Each error reintroduces static. Static collapses you back into the old pattern. Here's another mistake. People chase mystical fireworks and miss disciplined basics. They think a rare peak state will fix a daily baseline. It won't. Baseline wins. A clean witness for 90 seconds 10 times a day transforms more than one dramatic breakthrough you can't repeat. Let's clear 3 misconceptions quickly. 1. Witnessing is passive. No, it's active precision. You're selecting signal by state and shaping behavior. 2. It's spiritual bypass. Not if you include everything you notice and act on what matters. 3. It takes too long. It takes seconds. The payoff is immediate if you actually do it. So why does only 1% stick with it? Consistency isn't glamorous. There's no immediate badge for I paused and chose better. Results show up indirectly. Cleaner relationships, fewer misfires, steadier self-trust. Because the benefits arrive as reduced chaos, they're easy to miss. So people quit right before compounding takes over. There's also a cultural bias towards spectacle. Loud confidence gets rewarded. Quiet coherence gets overlooked. But coherence compounds. If you take one thing from this section, take this. State selects signal and repetition stabilizes state. That's the quiet math behind transformation. Visual compounding graph. Small daily practices accumulating. A quick checkpoint. Ask yourself, where do I confuse speed with effectiveness? Where do I decorate reactivity with spiritual language? Where do I overlabel instead of measure cleanly? Those answers point to your friction. Now, the antidotes. Replace projection with precision. Name what's here, not what you fear. Replace urgency with sequence. Center, check, then choose. Replace drama with dosage. Small, frequent reps over rare heroics. Replace self-judgment with verification. Did my state improve by even one notch? That's progress. Once you see these barriers clearly, they lose most of their force. Accuracy creates ease. Ease reveals options. Options shift outcomes. That's why the 1% keep practicing. Now let's get practical. I'll give you specific techniques you can start using today. Let's make this real with practices you can use immediately. We'll build capacity in layers: body, breath, attention, language, and deliberate rehearsal. Think of it as tuning the receiver so your observation gets cleaner and your choices get wiser. Start with a baseline reset. Inhale through the nose for 4, hold gently for 6, exhale through the mouth for 8. Do 3 cycles. The longer exhale signals safety to your nervous system, which steadies attention. If you can't hold for 6, shorten it, but keep the proportions. The point is predictability. Calm isn't an idea, it's a physiology you can train. Now add orientation. Turn your head slowly and name 3 neutral visuals. Window light, blue mug, plant. 2 neutral sounds. Air vent, distant traffic. 1 neutral touch. Fabric on forearm. This widens focus without effort. A narrow lens collapses to threat. A wider lens restores context. The observer thrives on context. Upgrade the 3CS switch with a 2-word technique: name and allow. After you center, say, tight chest, allow. Irritation, allow. I want to fix, allow. The allow isn't resignation. It's consent to what's already present so your system stops fighting itself. Fighting is static. Allowing is signal. Refine your attention with this drill. Imagine your awareness as a flashlight that can focus or flood. Beam for 10 seconds on one sensation, like the breath at the nostrils. Then field for 10 seconds, sensing the whole body as one unit. Alternate for 1 minute. This trains precision without losing the bigger picture. Under stress, most people lock into beam and forget the field. You'll keep both online. Let's clean up language. Words are measurements. Vague words cloud perception. Replace global labels with specifics. Instead of "this always goes wrong," try "we missed the deadline twice this quarter." Instead of "I'm failing," name "I'm behind on 2 tasks. I can complete 1 now." Accuracy reduces noise and frees action. Add a micro protocol for conflict called QBA, question, boundary, ask. Question: 1 clarifying question that seeks data, not a verdict. What outcome do you want from this? Boundary: a boundary stated as a preference. I can continue if we keep voices low. Ask: an ask that moves next steps. Would you prefer we decide now or schedule 15 minutes tomorrow? QBA keeps you in witness-led action rather than actor-led reaction. Here's a deliberate rehearsal method. For 60 seconds in the morning, imagine a likely challenge today, then run the 3C and QBA in your mind once, slowly. Feel your body soften. Hear your words. You're not predicting, you're grooving a response. When the moment comes, the pathway is familiar. Familiarity lowers activation, which keeps the observer online. A practice to build coherence. Draw a small mental box in front of you, or sketch it in a journal. Inside the box, place 1 sensation, 1 emotion, 1 thought label. Outside the box, imagine a bright window that represents your values, maybe clarity, compassion, or truth. Hold both for 20 seconds. Then ask, what action honors the window while including the box? This integrates state with purpose. That's conscious observation in motion. Measure progress with a simple metric, recovery time. Don't judge spikes. Track how quickly you return to witness. If it took 20 minutes last month and now it's 5, you're winning. Recovery is the score that matters. Finally, dosage rules. Do 2-minute reps 5 times a day rather than one long session you'll skip. Stack reps to anchors you already do, after you sit at your desk, after you end a call, before you eat, when you park, when you wash hands. Repetition stabilizes state. State selects signal. If this resonates, like the video, it helps this teaching reach people who need a steadier inner observer. So here's where we've traveled together. The state of your observer selects the signals you notice, the choices you make, and the outcomes you experience. This isn't metaphysics, it's the mechanics of attention, nervous system regulation, and decision-making working in concert. You've learned that the observer effect isn't about forcing reality to comply. It's about tuning the quality of your attention so you can influence the probabilities you engage. You've seen how the witness creates space between stimulus and response, and in that space, everything changes. You have the 3C switch. You have QBA. You have breathwork, orientation, clean language, and recovery metrics. You have everything you need to start. But here's what separates knowing from transforming: the next 7 days. Here's your challenge and your invitation into the 1%. For 7 days, commit to 4 to 6 to 8 breathing twice daily, morning and evening. Which, with allow whenever you feel reactive, even just once a day, QBA in one real conversation where tension shows up, that's it. Not heroic, not flashy, just consistent. Then come back and tell me in the comments what shifted. What did you notice? Where did the quality of your observation change the outcome? Your experience helps others commit. Subscribe for more grounded, practical ways to integrate consciousness work into daily life. No woo, no hype, just tools that work. And remember, you don't need to be special to do this. You just need to be willing to pause, to observe, to choose from a cleaner state. The 1% aren't more gifted. They're just more consistent. The witness is already there. You're learning to inhabit it. I'll see you in the next video. Keep practicing. Now here's where this gets even more profound. So what do you actually do with this understanding? If reality is participatory, if observation shapes what becomes real, if consciousness is woven into the fabric of existence, how does that change how you live? First, your attention is sacred. Where you place your awareness determines what you experience. Not because you're manifesting things from thin air, but because awareness selects which possibilities crystallize into your reality. Mystics call this mindfulness. Quantum physics calls it the observer effect. Both say the same thing: be conscious of what you're observing. When you obsess over fear, you strengthen fear's pattern in your experience. When you notice beauty, beauty amplifies. You're not creating these from nothing, they already exist as potential. But you're choosing which frequency to tune into. Second, separation is a useful fiction, not the ultimate truth. You can operate as an individual, you are a unique pattern of consciousness. But beneath that pattern, you're connected to the whole. When you harm another, you harm yourself. When you heal another, you heal yourself. Not metaphorically. Actually. Because at the quantum level, where particles that were once connected remain forever entangled, your actions ripple through the field of consciousness we all share. Third, reality is more fluid than you've been taught. The solid world is mostly empty space held together by forces and fields. What you call yourself is a process, not a thing, a verb, not a noun. You're not fixed. You're becoming moment by moment. This is liberation. If you're not a fixed self, you can change. If reality responds to observation, you can shift what you observe. If consciousness is fundamental, then who you truly are cannot be destroyed. It can only transform. Here's the final mystery we'll explore today. If observation collapses possibility into form, what happens when the observer dies? Quantum physics suggests information is never destroyed, it only changes form. Energy cannot be created or annihilated, only transformed. Visual, star, death becoming nebula, nebula becoming new stars. If consciousness is woven into that same fabric of reality, perhaps it follows the same law. Mystics have said this forever. We are not human beings having a spiritual experience. We are spiritual beings having a human experience. Pierre Teilhard de Chardin. The soul is neither born nor does it die. Bhagavad Gita. These aren't comforting fantasies. They're testable through direct experience. Meditation, near-death experiences, psychedelic journeys, moments of profound insight, all report the same thing. Consciousness feels bigger than the body, more fundamental, more continuous. You don't have to believe this, but consider it as a possibility. What if awareness isn't produced by your brain, but filtered through it? What if your brain is like a radio receiver, tuning into a signal that's always broadcasting? When the receiver breaks, the signal doesn't end. It just stops coming through that. From this view, death isn't annihilation. It's a shift in how consciousness observes. The pattern you call you dissolves, but the awareness that animated it remains, returning to the field, ready to observe in new ways. This isn't provable. It's not scientific fact. But it's not less valid than materialism, which also can't prove consciousness ends at death. The quantum view simply offers another possibility. You are the universe observing itself. And the universe doesn't die, it transforms. Quantum physics didn't discover consciousness. It stumbled upon the same mystery mystics have explored for thousands of years. The observer effect reminds us, you are not separate from reality. You are reality becoming aware of itself. This changes everything. It means your life is not random. Your awareness is not accidental. You are part of an intelligent, creative, participatory process that's been unfolding since the first moment something rather than nothing existed. You don't need to understand quantum mechanics to live this truth. You just need to observe your experience with clarity. Watch your thoughts without judging them. Feel your emotions without resisting them. Notice sensations without clinging to them. This is meditation. This is mysticism. This is you, learning to be the observer, the consciousness that collapses infinite possibility into this sacred, fleeting, perfect moment. The mystics knew it. The quantum physicists glimpsed it. And now you're discovering it. Awareness is the ground of being. Everything else is patterns dancing on its surface. Remember that secret we started with? Scientists watch particles behave differently when observed. That mystery that shattered every comfortable assumption about reality. Here's what we've discovered together. Quantum physics didn't find consciousness. It stumbled onto the same truth mystics have lived for thousands of years, that you are not separate from reality. You are reality waking up to itself. This isn't philosophy. It's physics. It's mysticism. It's your direct experience every moment you pay attention. So what do you do with this? You become the observer, not the thinker analyzing everything, not the controller forcing outcomes. The observer, the awareness that watches thoughts without being them, feels sensations without clinging to them, notices reality without collapsing into it. This is meditation. This is presence. This is you, learning to participate in the universe's creative unfolding. Here's my invitation. For the next 24 hours, practice being the observer. When anxiety arises, don't fight it, observe it. Where do you feel it in your body? What thought triggered it? Just watch, like a scientist watching particles. When beauty appears, don't just consume it, observe it fully. What makes that sunset move you? Where does awe live in your awareness? You'll discover something. The observer in you is the same awareness that collapses wave functions, births galaxies, and breathes through every living thing. If this shifted something in you, if you felt your awareness expand even slightly, then subscribe to this channel. Every week we explore the intersection of consciousness, ancient wisdom, and what it means to be alive in our participatory universe. Hit the bell so you don't miss the next exploration. We're diving into quantum entanglement and the mystery of past lives, the holographic nature of memory and reality, whether consciousness can exist outside of time. And if this resonates with you, please leave a comment. Tell me, what will you observe differently today? I read every single one. This isn't just content, it's a community of conscious observers waking up together. You're not just watching this video. You're observing it into existence, the same way you observe every moment of your life into being. Now go. Observe your universe into reality.